welcome to Between Two Bushes. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Schull, the inventor of the Kegelbell. And we have a special mini-series for you. We have a guest, star who is the Vagina Coach. And so Kim will be joining us for the next few series, and she is a true expert in all things pelvic floor. She comes to us from Canada, and there she's the author of many books. She has a wonderful app where she coaches people through this app, and she has a fantastic YouTube series, so please do check it out. But now you get to spend some time with her on Between Two Bushes, and I'm going to pepper her with questions, and we're going to learn a lot. So, hi, Kim. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. This is super exciting.
Oh gosh, for us it's a treat. I've been admiring you for years, literally, and I know we tried to meet when I was in Canada, and I'm just so glad that here we are, be it virtually, and I get to share that experience with everyone. So much to the better.
Yeah, we'll meet one day whenever COVID clears, and either I'll come to you, you'll come to me. We'll make it happen.
Yes, we're so aligned in so many ways. It just makes sense. So we're going to do this little series, and I think it'd be a great way to start is I gave a little bit of your background, but it's really an interesting one. So can you tell us a bit about, who you are, the where you started story, and why being the Vagina Coach, happened, and why it's important, like it's your life's work?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I certainly didn't grow up thinking that I would become a vagina coach. And, growing up, the word vagina was, you giggle and you laugh and you feel uncomfortable saying it. But how it happened really was I was sort of had this fear fascination with birth. And I remember seeing in 6th grade a pregnancy birth video, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. But I went home and I looked at my mom and I said, well, she did it and she's still walking around, and my aunt did it, and all these things. So I kind of had this this fascination and started asking questions. And my mom, she was a nurse. She was very open with information and education, which I'm really grateful for. And she told me about her births, and she told me she had episiotomies, and she told me she had back pain all the time. And sort of as I was growing up and recognizing different things in my mom, she never could flatten her abs anymore. She ran, but then she stopped running because she was leaking. And then she eventually had surgery for incontinence. And then she had a hysterectomy. So it was like, I was following this path thinking, oh my gosh, like how is this going to happen to me? And is there other things I could do to prevent it? So for a while it was, I'm just not going to have children. That was one way to prevent it. But then as I grew up, I decided I did want to have kids. And I watched my sister-in-law give birth. And that was a really transformative event. And it kind of opened my eyes to birth being very different from anything I had ever seen up to that point. It really had been very much media driven, or that 6th grade childbirth education class, I think it was just like sex ed at the time. So I watched my sister-in-law give birth, and then I sort of, I had my eyes wide open. She used a midwife. She was in a side lying birth position. She did perineal massage. And that was an inspiration. And from there, the next year I was pregnant myself. I was talking to my midwives about what I could do, that, knowing about perineal massage, but they had also told me about a product called the Epino, which is a biofeedback device for pelvic floor training. And that made sense to me. So I researched this product. It's out of Germany, bought one, used it for my birth, had a great experience. Yes, I used a midwife. I was also in a sideline birth position. I had done preparatory work. So I feel like I had a lot of things working in my favor to have a good experience and a good outcome. But I still really, even my midwives placed some emphasis on this product and how it had helped me prepare. And so I said, why is it that more people don't know about this? Why isn't that this is part of childbirth education? How can I help? And that was 2004. Not like a few months after my first son was born, I contacted the company who makes the Epino, and I said, hey, could I be a distributor just to kind of make a little bit of extra side money? I didn't intend for it to be a business per se. And that's how it started. And then I used it with my second birth, was telling a few more people. My midwives were now telling other people. So then I started a website, and it was still at that time kind of a side thing. And then in 2009, we had moved to a different province. My husband was a pilot. He was away all the time. We didn't have any family where we were. I was working full time, 2 kids in daycare. And I thought, I wonder if I could make this a business and rather it just be a side gig. And I said, I'd give myself a year to grow it more on the side. And then 3 months later, I was laid off. It was the 2009 financial crumble, and I was with a financial services company. So I had no job, and I thought, okay, well, maybe this is the time for me to do this. So that's kind of how it started. So accidentally on purpose, I guess you can say. And I recertified my fitness, focused in pre-postnatal. And initially it was very much focused on giving women information when they're pregnant about how they can better prepare for their birth, what they can be doing in their recovery. And then as you know, my first son is now 16 years old. And through the years, I've evolved, obviously, myself. I'm in perimenopause, approaching the age of 50. You know, I'm in a different life zone than I was when I first started. And people have also come to me after saying, well, I had my babies 10 years ago. Can you help me with this now? So really, I kind of cover the full, the major life stages of pregnancy, motherhood, and menopause now. And really, it's online programs, the app that you had mentioned, coaching one-on-one. And I like to do a lot of speaking and educating, have certification courses as well. So that's kind of how it started. My why was really initially, how can I help myself? And then recognizing there was such a huge void, and so many women like my mom who just kind of accepted, well, that's, you know, I've had children now and that's just the way it is. And then they have surgery and then, you know, that kind of path. And I really wanted to try to create a different path for myself and hopefully help others too.
Oh, I'm so glad you did. It is mind blowing how this, how getting pregnant, giving birth is nearly universal, and yet there is such a lack of information. Like you said, there was the sixth grade understanding and the popular media understanding, but when you were really present for a birth, you were like, this is a whole other thing. That, you know, and then you. So how is it that we have this gross omission, this blind spot? I mean, all we hear are the horror stories. You know, people love at cocktail parties at the dinner table. They'll tell you how painful it was, and that's what you get. So it is scary to hear that. You know, I mean, there's many reasons why I didn't have children. You know, overdetermined, but you know, a biggie was only hearing the horror stories.
Right.
So, you know, unless I got accidentally pregnant, which could happen, it wasn't going to happen. You know, because, you know, intentionally, it was terrifying. So thank you for working on that problem, because, you know, it's a wonderful thing, motherhood. And, you know, I hear women say that, well, let's say they have children, and let's say they felt their bodies were transformed in a way that altered their life, and, you know, the incontinence and whatnot. They were afraid to have more. So that's why I think it's so critically important that we get out there. There's a way of recovering post-pregnancy so that you can continue to have children. And, you know, so you can continue to exercise, so you can continue to have fun. So I think a big part, and that's where it is for me about why I started, was my mother had 5 children. Her body, you know, was impacted by that. She didn't seek great solutions. She sought surgery and things like that, which ruined her. You know, forever now. She'll forever be in crippling pain from that experience of those surgical responses. And, you know, I just thought, wow, does it have to be this way? And when I did some research, and my background is in philosophy, I'm a professor of philosophy, you know, the research was really clear, and it just wasn't getting out into the public, basically. And so, you know, I wanted to go your route, and I failed. I wanted to be like a coach type of route. But I was really frustrated with a lot of the products and services that were in the marketplace. So I kind of veered and instead decided to go into product development and create a product that I thought was the next generation, improving upon weaknesses of other devices, and piggybacking on all the great research that showed that vaginal weights and species of vaginal weights held a lot of promise. So I think we're very much aligned. I believe we're the same age. You know, we had different journeys about how we got here, but I think we're definitely aligned on, you know, let's make sure women know enough and know how to take care of themselves so that they can say yes to having more kids, so they can say yes to exercising again and dancing and traveling and all those things they stopped doing because the pelvic floor issues get in the way.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, really, it kind of came down to, there was just no information. There was no awareness. People weren't in a position to make informed choices. And like you, now it's recognizing that there are some things, but there's things that can be improved upon. And let's give people the biggest array, the the most options possible
Yeah.
so they can make better decisions, and they can make sure that they are informed ones as
Yeah.
well. So yeah.
And for product development, like making the app and making the series is, inventing from that angle as well, which we're going to get into in this series. But I just wanted to start out so that if people are watching later episodes, they can come back to this one and learn about our backgrounds and who we are and all of that. So, well, bye for now, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Thank you.
Yeah.